another edition of Dan's Fishing Tales. Today we're going to be fishing with a little bait called a T-Cricket. It's put up by Natural Forage Baits. And for those of you who are wondering, Pepper's out here somewhere. He's going to be fishing with us too. But what we're going to be fishing for is bluegills and crappies. Probably mainly bluegills, because they're the things that really like these T-Crickets. And I'm going to show them to you and how I rig them. We're going to be using these under a float, so I want to show it to you up close first. This is the T-Cricket, if you can see it right there. And what I've put this on is a J-Mac jig head. Now, why I like these J-Macs, and I use a lot of different ones. The heads that I normally use, that are like the Be Fishing, the H2O precision heads, those are just a little bit too big, and the keeper barb on that will tear these bodies up. So trying to find something with a keeper that will work for these smaller plastic bodies, it's very, very difficult. So I go with these J-Mac heads. Why? Because that is a straight wire. There's no keeper. True, it may slide down a little bit more, but that doesn't make any difference. And if you want, take some fishing glue and put that up there and it'll glue it right to it. But I use these little J-Mac heads. They're very, very good for this. Now I might also go to something like a titanium, the Custom Jigs and Spins titanium heads. I haven't tried those yet, but those should be good. In fact, they're an ice fishing jig actually, and I've got to find them. I haven't been able to find mine. They're in there somewhere. But I do know these J-Mac heads work good. And now what we're going to do is we're fishing it under a float. In fact, a weighted Mr. Crappie float, just like this. And we're going to cast it out there and since we've got a lot of wind, we're going to let the wave action take it along and see what happens with it. Another thing I'm going to do, now there is the Kickin' Bass formula stuff in here, but we're going to add something to it. Yeah, something that I usually do. Now, I'll fish it both ways, but this is a crappie nibble, a power crappie nibble. And I've used these for years and had very, very good success. They got tons of colors in them, but if you use white, you can't go wrong. There's just something about white, kind of like fishing a white grub. A white grub, you usually just can't go wrong with it. Well, by the way, I wanted to bring up too, when you're keeping these jig heads like this, you know, they got an open wire to them, of course, the hook and what have you. Take a look at the rust stricter boxes that are out there. The Plano has those. They're also coming out with one, in fact, they've already got it out. It's called the Edge, and it does the same thing. It draws the moisture out. That's right. That's why they call it a rust stricter, because it actually restricts you having rust on these. So they're ideal for keeping little jigs, any tackle, where you got hooks and they're going to rust, or crankbaits or whatever. But right now we're fishing this thing, and I'm going to get it cast out there because I'm anxious to catch one. Oh yeah, by the way, bluegills are Pepper's favorite. Yep, that's right. I don't know why. Maybe because they're more his size, but we're going to cast this out here. I'm going to fish, no, I don't know. I'm going to shallow that up just a little bit. There have been a few crappies out here too, and seem like they're hitting it on the fall. So I'm going to make a cast, and then we're going to see what happens. Something that I want to mention about these lighter jig heads like I was talking about, they are good, but when you're fishing a situation like this with a crosswind, a lot of times a line will wrap around the top of the float, when you're using a float, that is. And that can create a problem. It can actually throw it off just that much that you don't get a strike. It will either be because the float will be doing something a little bit different, or the fact that it's actually shortened up that much. Fish can be that picky, as you well know, and you want to make sure you go over the right depth. I've deepened this up just a little bit since I first set this, but I'm going to shallow it again, and we're going to make some more casts here. And I may even end up moving. I've been finding these fish over suspended deeper weed beds, and that's what I'm casting to. And hopefully we can still get something, and we'll find out. I see that Pepper is rolling in something that stinks. Doesn't that figure? So, anyway, I'm going to make some more casts and we'll see if we can catch some fish. Here's the first fish of the day, I hope. I don't think I got into the weeds. Maybe I did. Nope, I think we got one. Well, he's not very big, but he's a start. Kind of small from what I've been getting. So we'll try that again. I actually had to go down the line here just a little bit, or cast down the line, but that's tough to do. I may have to drive down that way so I can cast more with this wind. This wind's really picking up and making royal pain, I'll tell you. So I just might take this, because casting, like I said, casting against the wind, casting crosswind, I mean, yeah, we can try it right here. Right out in here is a weed bed, and it goes right down the middle. Not too bad of a cast. When you do that, though, you want to lower your rod quick. I think I'm just right off of the weed bed, and that's the trouble. Oh, there's one. I think I got one. Yep, I got one. He had to be right at the edge of that weed bed. Seems a little bit bigger than that last one. Yeah, I guess he is. He's a bass. Yeah. Well, that shows that they'll even take some bass. Yep, even a bass went for the cricket. It's not bad. Put on another crappie nibble. He had to have got that right at the edge. And I still may move because I'm trying to stay on the bluegills, and I'm not too sure now that the bluegills are where I got him. There is an edge though of that weed bed. Like I said, that weed bed's run right down the middle. If you're wondering why I dipped my rod tip like that, it's in order to stop that line from bowing, because the wind is coming from this angle. And I wish it was right behind me. It's a direct south wind. I've got another gill way out here. At least I think it is. Who knows, I might have another bass. I think it's got a bluegill. Yeah, let's see. Nope, got crappie. You know, we're getting just about everything on this. Shows you this cricket will work. It's a crappie, he's nothing really big. I got him out there a little bit different location. I know it's still on the weed line, and that's what I'm looking for. Get him back in there and see if we can get some more. Tell you the truth, I really thought I'd have to go to the T-Shad instead of the T-Cricket in order to get any of these crappie. You can see it does, without that keeper, it does kind of have a tendency to flip-flop just a little bit. And while we're talking about that, I want to bring that up. On these jig heads, if you have to go to a little bit heavier one, because I'll tell you, casting across a crosswind like this, you wouldn't believe that just a little bit heavier head would help you a lot more getting to where you want to be. It doesn't really pack that much punch as far as the cast, because the weight on the float's what's doing it. but still this helps some. And if you use one that has a collar, try to get one with a long enough shank that you can still put the cricket straight, but don't push it onto the collar. Not if it's a thick collar. Either that or trim it down. That's one way to do it. I'm going to put another nibble on here. I'm going to cast out to the same spot. I'm kind of using the wind two different directions. One is to keep that float bobbing. The other is I'm catching it this way and putting it in and seeing how it's going to work. So, let's see what happens next. Got another one in the same spot. I know I'm not keeping the camera on, but that's in order to conserve battery. And yet I should have kept it on because I got it right on that next cast. And this one's a bluegill. Another smaller one. But at least the bluegill. Pepper likes that. Yeah. Didn't get to see him, did you, Pep? See, you were too nosy into the grass. Pepper loves to eat grass, unfortunately. So we'll put another nibble on. No big secret to putting a nibble on, but I'll show you. Maybe. Get one out of here. You can put them whatever way you want, but I kind of like to put them through the flat area. Put them on just like that. There it is, so you can see it. Everybody knows what a nibble looks like. Yeah, I think I'm going to deepen that up just a wee bit. Now what I'm doing, I'm actually going to this way and then casting out there. So, excuse me while I go cast. Okay, I've made a cast and it's drifting. Didn't quite make it where I wanted it, so it may not drift where I want. And that's the thing, once you find a spot that's really holding fish, keep working on that. Don't do jumping around. If you know that they're there, just work on it. Once it starts diddling out, then you're going to have to try to find something. And usually if you can find the same sort of spot, I happen to find that weed bed, but I'm way off of it right now. I can see that. And I'm not getting any hits. So I'm going to reel in and cast again. There's one. Same location. You got to be on that weed line or you're not going to get anything. You know, these long C-Series rods are really a lot of fun. Plus, it helps you to make those long casts. Another bluegill. Yes, Pepper, that's your favorite, isn't it? Uh-huh. Yeah, see? That's Pepper's favorite. There he goes. Yep, that's Pepper's favorite fish, the bluegill. I don't mean eating. He likes seeing them caught more. I can't get it. I know this is going to sound funny. I had an old episode of Dan's Fishing Tales television show on. And he went over and sat down in front of the television set. I was taking a look, reviewing back for some reason. And he's sitting there and he was getting all excited and he started barking because he's seen some of those bluegill coming in. Well, all of a sudden he decided to look over at the Davenport. Look at me sitting there. And he looked at the TV and he looked back at me. I think he was trying to figure out, why are you in two different locations? But that shows that he could see because he was barking. He'd hear that splash first, just like he hears here. And then he went for it. So, you know, who knows? Pepper, you're goofy. So let's bait up and try to see what else we can catch. I may end up moving pretty soon here due to the fact that it's getting much tougher to cast across this crosswind. It's picking up a little bit. It's getting into about the 20-mile-an-hour range now, right around there. So it's going to make it a little bit more difficult with this lighter type stuff. But that's where this long 9-foot rod comes in handy. So let's bait up and see what we can find. Well, Pepper and I, we caught quite a few more fish, but when I went back to review it, there was no audio. And that's right, there's quite a few fish that were caught that no audio. So what I'm going to do is at the end, after we get this all closed out, I'll run those so that you can look at them. Like I said, there's just going to be a bunch of quick ones, no audio or anything else, so if you want to see what else we caught, that's what we caught. But you'll be able to see what you already have, that this little Natural Forage Bait Cricket, T-Cricket it's called, works. It really does. Caught quite a few fish. Caught bass, crappie, and bluegill on this. The bass weren't real big, true. Well, the crappie were just about average for around here. They're about 10-inch size. And the bluegill were just, you know, they weren't those huge bluegills that we can get, but we caught some. That was mainly what I wanted to do, is to show you how I rig this and what I do. If I'm going to vertical jig it, like in a boat or something, I'll get right over the top. But a float works great with that bobbing type action that I showed you. So until next time, get out on the water and have a great day of fishing.